In an industry that builds nations, information is power. Insight is strategy. The steel and mining industry drives the backbone of modern infrastructure. But in a rapidly changing market, every decision needs reliable intelligence. It began with a simple idea: a morning WhatsApp news update for the steel and mining industry. The updates quickly gained industry participation and credibility across the sector. This growing community led to the formation of Metalogic Research and Advisory. During the global disruption of COVID, we launched our digital intelligence platform, mymetalogic.com. A central hub delivering market intelligence, industry analysis, and strategic insights. From daily market movements to weekly strategic analysis, our reports keep the industry informed. Our consultancy services support businesses with market research, commodity pricing, and industry analysis. Through MyMetalogic memberships, industry professionals gain exclusive access to market intelligence and premium reports. MyMetalogic, intelligence powering the future of the steel and mining industry. India's steel and mining industry is evolving faster than ever. But real progress happens when ideas, technology, and leadership come together. With 10+ years of experience, Metalogic has been connecting the steel ecosystem through impactful industry platforms across Pan-India. We bring together CXOs, plant heads, innovators, and decision-makers shaping the future of steel and mining. Focused events for the steel and mining sector. Tailored, customized events designed for your business goals. Research-driven forums delivering real industry insights. Powerful product and company launches that capture attention. Because we don't just host events, we create industry brands. From brainstorming sessions to live demonstrations, we create spaces where innovation comes alive, and exhibitions that showcase the technologies shaping tomorrow. Metalogic events, connecting ideas, industry, and innovation. Join us to shape the future of steel and mining.
Just to please mute your mics. We are starting the program now.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all our speakers and participants joining us today. On behalf of Metalogic, I warmly welcome you all to yet another insightful session. It gives me a great pleasure to host this webinar number 63 in our ongoing knowledge series, where we continue to bring together industry leaders, experts to decode the most critical development shaping global commodities and trade. For those who are joining us for the first time, Metalogic is a research-driven platform focused on the steel and raw material ecosystem. Over the last decades, we have gone beyond traditional conferences to build a space for thought leadership, market intelligence, and meaningful industry dialogue. And today's discussion is exactly in that spirit. A little housekeeping. This session is being streamed live on YouTube channel. So if you're facing any difficulty on Zoom, you can watch this program on youtube.com/Metalogic PMS. So to all our online viewers, welcome. And we look forward to your participation through comments and questions. Coming to the theme of the program, the myth of green steel, reality checks on energy efficiency and decarbonization. Green steel has become a powerful narrative globally. But the real question is, are we truly decarbonizing, or are we redefining sustainability through perception? Because steel remains one of the most carbon intensive industry, and the path of decarbonization is far more simple. Is renewable energy enough to make green steel? Can energy efficiency alone deliver real impact? Is hydrogen a near-term solution for India or still an aspirational? In a country like India, where demand is growing rapidly and coal continues to play a major role, the transition has to be practical, not just ambitious. Today, we see multiple pathways, solar investments, coal gasification, and emerging technologies, but the key question is, are these real solutions or parallel narratives? This discussion about cutting through that noise and understanding what truly works, because green steel is not just about intent, it's all about impact. This discussion is also comes at a very relevant time as Metalogic is preparing to host the International Iron Ore Conference on 19th of May in Goa. And also we have another conference, Steel Technology Festival, on 26th May in Delhi, which will bring together global industry leaders and the mining and steel industry to discuss production outlook, trade flows, logistics, and the future of iron ore market. Also, Metalogic is a proud partner at Bharat Steel. It's a flagship conference and exhibition of Ministry of Steel. The program is to be held on 16th and 17th of April at Bharat Mandapam. You can get the detail by visiting their website bharat.steel.gov.in. And also Metalogic is having their booth on first floor D16. So join us for the more interview and podcast sessions at Bharat Steel on 16th and 17th April. Our topic, core myth to challenge. Green steel is already scalable. Energy efficiency is equal to decarbonization. India can easily replicate EU models. Hydrogen is a near-term solution. Customers are willing to pay green premium. So these are the myths which we will be debunking. We today have with us Mr. V.R. Sharma, Vice Chairman, Naveen Jindal Group, Mr. Paramjit Singh, Director at NIST. We have Mr. Praveen Chaturvedi, Senior VP and Head Sales Upstream India Metals Division Tanova. We have with us Mr. Gaurav Verma, DGM Business Development and Branch Head, Aman Dastur and Company Private Limited. We have Soumyadeep Ghosh, Proposal Manager, Danley Centro Metallics, and I'm your host. So, starting from Mr. V.R. Sharma, I would like to raise a question to you, sir. Is green steel today more of a strategic narrative than an operational reality?
Thank you, Monica. I would say, and I will narrate that green steel is bound to come. This is the requirement of the day. I think by 2050, we should not use coal in India, and the world should not use the direct crude for fossil fuel. The is always a blessing in disguise. Today we are seeing a war had been going on in Europe for the last 4 years. I would say more than 4 years. America, the Russians and Ukrainians, they are fighting, and Russians are fighting against the entire Europe. I would say entire NATO. Of late, this is receding. Hopefully, this will close now, and let us pray that it should close now. The another war has erupted in the last 45 days. That is Israel, Iran, and America, Iran. And this has created a huge problem, and this has also alarmed all of us that we should now speed up the green steel manufacturing. We should now speed up to find out the alternate or substitute for fossil fuels, liquid fossil fuels, not coal, but liquid fossil fuels or gas. The time has come. This war is just not a war which will just stop and then we'll be back to the offices or back to the factories with same fuel, same natural gas, propane, LPG, or diesel or whatever form of oil is coming. This war to the policymakers will give you a complete blueprint. What should it be tomorrow? If it is repeated, what will happen? If the oil wells, refineries, they are blown off, what will happen? Especially for a country like India, where we have 140 crore people, 1.4 billion, and also for China, where they are also about 1.4 billion, though we are number one now. For these two nations, this has become more important to find out the alternate sources or a substitute for oil or the fossil fuels. You told about coal. Yes, dependence on coal is not a bad thing. It is very good that today India is dependent on coal. I'll thank to Government of India, and we all are, I would say, lucky that the Government of India is trying to meet out our energy requirements in terms of electricity. So more than 70% electricity still comes from coal. And this is a good sign that India is, I would say, self-reliant in electricity. We don't import any electricity in the country. And we are working at how to remain self-reliant in electricity by using coal, thermal coal, or tomorrow it be nuclear power plant. In a big way, in a 400 gigawatt of renewable energy target, then another 400 gigawatt, which is likely to come by 2035. SMRs or Bharat SMR, you can say, the small nuclear power plants, ranging from 25 megawatt to 200 megawatt, are likely to come, and an impetus will be given by government so that we come to a level where our dependence on fossil fuels, liquid fossil fuels, not coal, is reduced dramatically, significantly by 2050. So I'm looking this as an opportunity. I'm looking this as a great challenge in front of industry, whether it is steel industry, aluminum, cement, infrastructure, housing, domestic, MSMEs, automobiles. Everybody should try to work how to replace the liquid or gaseous fossil fuel. This is what my view is.
Right, sir. And coming to you, Paramjit, is secondary steel truly green in India, or does it depend heavily on energy source and efficiency?
Yeah, Monica, thank you very much. Saying that secondary sector is truly green, it's conditionally true. it's not, you can say 100% secondary sector is green. Because when we say about the green steel, as it is defined in the notification by the Ministry of Steel in the green steel taxonomy, it is defined that if we are producing the steel with the emission less than 2.2 tons CO2 per ton of the finished steel, that is defined as the green steel. And last year we have started this certification. And we have come to know that whatever the applications are coming to us, mostly majority of the applications from the secondary sector, only one or two, you can say integrated steel plants came to us for the certification. So in secondary sector, if the industry is using most of the, you can say, scrap, then they are green. If they are using DRI, then they have to, you can say, they have to use a different permutation of combination of scrap and DRI to fall under the green steel, you can say, definition. And second part is this, then what exactly they are doing there? They are using majority of the, you can say, contribution in the secondary sector is the electricity, which is coming from either from the, you can say, renewable energy or from the grid. If they are using the grid, then you can say, if you're using the higher percentage of the scrap, then they are, you can say, falls under the category of green steel. So by you can say changing the you can say combination of scrap and DRI and part of a combination of the renewable and thermal, they are you can say coming under the category of green steel. So by saying that the 100% of the green secondary sector is automatically green, it's not true. So it is depending upon the, you can say, combination of that.
Thank you, sir. Gaurav, I want to take this ahead and want to ask you, are customers actually willing to pay green premium, or is it still theoretical? Gaurav.
Yes, obviously someone has to pay for the like decarbonization, also green steel. So in my opinion, it is very selective, not universal. There are customers who are willing to pay, but depends on which type of customer, first customer or the end customers. Likewise, I'll give an example of automobiles. When we talk of green steel, so the general information as of now says that green steel, entire 100% green steel will be almost 40% to 40% costlier than the steel what we are producing right now. So if I take the example of a typical vehicle which weighs around 1500 kgs and 70% of that is steel, so that comes to around 1000 kg. And in this 1000 kg, 70% of the steel is which is coming through a BOF route. So that gives me 700 kgs of the steel which has to be replaced by green steel. And if I put a cost figure of 50 rupees per kg of steel, so the delta on the green steel will be around 35,000 rupees. 35,000 rupees. And 80% of the cars in India are financed. So that 35,000 rupees is distributed over 5 years. So now if government gives a subsidy of even less than 0.5% on purchase of green steel to the automobiles, we have end customers ready. So that way, yes, customers will be willing to pay, but we need to see which side, which frame. And if we expect this just straight away on the construction steel, it will be very difficult. So sector specific, and where policy support is there, customers are willing. And most important, where the costs can be passed on to the end customers. Otherwise, it is still a question why I should pay.
So you're saying at the part of the construction, there still be a question. Otherwise, people are willing to pay on the appliances, cars, automobile. They are willing to pay.
Yes, if some policy support is there, because my delta cost is distributed over the entire portfolio of end products, so the impact is much less what we see on the production side.
Thank you, Gaurav. Praveenji, following up the same question what I've asked Gaurav, the viewers want to understand, are green technologies are commercially viable today, or still dependent on subsidies and pilots? Praveen.
Yeah, thank you, Monica. See, this the green steel, as we were just discussing about, it is a not a single technology choice. It's a transition of the pathway which comprises of various constraints which are governed by economics, infrastructure, feedstock availability. So those are the things which plays an important role. There are technologies well proven across the globe, but the situation, what is happening in Europe or in Middle East, I'm not talking of Middle East in the present context, but a few months earlier. So they were blessed with the low price of the natural gas. They have the availability and low natural gas price. Even the if you see the Europe, they have the scrap. So those are the things, they are blessed with those commodities. Unlike them, as Mr. Sharma has rightly pointed out, we don't have so much of blessings. What we have the coal. So with the coal, we can start with the syngas and we can proceed ahead. But coming to the green, yes, technologies are well proven, but depending on how it fits for the Indian context has to be looked into. And more important thing for the Indian context is having the flexibility. And this is what Jindal Steel has already adopted in GSPL Raigarh, where we have been part of their journey, in which they have the flexibility of this NOF, new oxygen furnace, in which whether it is DRI or whether it is hot metal or whether it is scrap, whatever is available, the steel can be made effectively and without compromising on the yield and the productivity. That is one thing. And coming to the another aspect, thanks to Mr. Sharma, that in Oman, Jindal Shadid, that is the Jindal Jindal Steel Dukum, they are installing, giving us the opportunity to install the DRI plant, which is hydrogen ready and energy RN, that starts with the natural gas, and tomorrow if the hydrogen is available. So what I mean to say, that there should be a flexibility in terms of whether it is the charge mix or whatever the fossil fuels available. If not, then in Indian context, we have the coke oven gas, we have the syngas, through which we can proceed in-house rather than depending on the external fuel.
Thank you, Praveen. Soumyadeep, India's DRI sector is largely driven by rotary kiln based units, especially if we are talking about the MSME. How do you see their role in the decarbonization journey?
Thank you, Monica, for the question, and thank you for having me in the panel with such esteemed panelists. So we are all aware that rotary kiln-based DRI units, largely coming from the secondary steel sector, are not just marginal players, but they are the backbone of India's DRI ecosystem at the present time. But at the same time, they are the highest contributor, one of the biggest contributors in the iron making side in terms of CO2 footprint. Let's say 2 to 2.4 tons of CO2 per ton of sponge iron or DRI, as you might call it. So decarbonization pathway is possible for them for sure if they install a vertical shaft DRI. For example, Energy coupled with the government policy right now for basically incentivizing the coal gasification unit. So in that way, if you couple, it is really beneficial in terms of decarbonization of this secondary steel industry. Having said that, with the present rotary kiln that they are presently operating, for sure, efficiency improvements, partial fuel substitution, waste heat recovery, and better feedstock utilization is one of the decarbonization pathway who would like to continue with the rotary kiln. So for me, decarbonization in this segment will be evolutionary, not revolutionary until and unless they change the technology towards vertical shaft coupled with coal gasification.
And is it realistic to expect MSME DRI players to transition from rotary kiln to vertical shaft technologies, given cost and infrastructure constraint? Because we know that the pockets are usually tight.
Yes, absolutely correct. I have much more learned panelists in this, so correct me if I'm speaking something wrong. But this secondary steel industry or the rotary kiln industry are basically working in a cluster basis. So let's say 6 to 10 steel plants that are operating together in a single area. One of the let's say an easy model that one could approach is a hub and spoke model, whereas 6 or 10 players come together and put up a DRI facility, vertical shaft DRI facility, and take DRI as per their requirement. They benefit from the economies of scale, as well as the entire investment is not particularly on one single partner. And the second model is that we as Energiron, we also have smaller micro modules. So a module that is starting from 200,000 to 500,000, 600,000. So small modules that is retrofitted only for this particular industry. And this is not just on pen and paper, but this is already operating in Abu Dhabi and Bolivia, this small modules. So there are two possible opportunities for the secondary steel industry, whether they can go for a hub and spoke model, where everybody come together, enjoy the economies of scale and take as per their requirement, or each one can set, if they want to be autonomous, they can put up a single facility to couple together with a coal gasification facility. One more thing which I would like to highlight here is that the fact that in rotary kiln, the quality of DRI that you receive in terms of ferrous metallic or ferrous oxide. Ferrous oxide is very high and ferric metallic is very less, which also utilize, basically this rotary kilns are utilizing induction furnaces presently in India. So that also requires higher energy to melt, whereas the vertical shafts gives you highest ferrous metallic and less of FeO. So in that way, you have generally around 40 to 50 kilowatt hour per ton of liquid steel, electrical energy less, as well as increasing on the yield side from those furnaces as well. So if you combine together, that also helps you, let's say from the scope 2 side, because you are taking electrical energy from the grid. So you also reduce your CO2 footprint on this side as well. So yes, in today's time, it is realistic. It is realistic considering that the government, thanks to the government who is basically incentivizing the coal gasification unit as per India's context.
I see there is a lot of confusion between scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 emissions. I will come back to that also. To Mr. V.R. Sharma, so I want to ask, can India decarbonize without losing its cost advantage? Because just now, Soumyadeep was also mentioning about how MSME are going to evolve rather than, revolutionize over decarbonization. So as per your perspective, you are having so many plants around Jindal Steel plant. Do you think India can decarbonize without losing its cost advantage globally?
No, actually, this is a level playing field. I mean, if the whole world is decarbonizing, the cost is same. The point here is why we are decarbonizing. We are not decarbonizing to reduce the cost or to increase the cost. We are decarbonizing to protect the universe. There is a big difference in two thoughts. We can always say that the burning of wood is better, or burning of coal is better, or do not use the cooking gas or the electricity, still use the chulas with the wood. So we can always say, because chula is very cheap and the gas is not available, the electricity is costlier. So the point here is, what is our intention? Intention is to reduce the cost, or intention is to reduce the overall CO2 and reduce the dependence on fossil fuel. So if there's a reduction of fossil fuel is the main motto, then the prices everywhere in the world, at any part of the world, are similar. There's no change, because whether it is solar, or it is nuclear, or it is wind energy, or it is hydro energy, it is similar. So then converting energy into hydrogen is also similar. Then using hydrogen for making DRI, like vertical shaft DRI, is also similar with everybody everywhere in the world. The only advantage people get when they are utilizing their local resources. Like China has a lot of coal, they use coal gasification to their account. It will be beneficial, definitely. It is going to give them big benefit. So do the coal gasification. make hydrogen out of it, make fertilizer out of it, urea out of it, and make steel out of it. And this is what they are doing. So out of 48 million ton hydrogen, the 41 million ton hydrogen China is making out of coal gasification, whereas we are making zero, except for few plants like Jindal Steel is having not a direct hydrogen manufacturing plant, but it is a DRI plant, first DRI plant in the world based on hydrogen, based on coal gasification. So our second plant is also coming. Hopefully by the end of this year or early next year, we will commission the second plant. The third plant is also going to start in Raigad very soon. So hopefully by end of 2028, we'll commission that plant based on coal gasification. And you might have seen the news. We already converted our galvanizing lines, color coating lines, annealing furnaces, hardened and tempering line, quench and tempered line, heat treated line, all on syngas. So today in our company, we are not using any gas like propane or
Are you
LPG or
also
something like
supporting
that.
other plants from your syngas?
You see, I'm a supporter of this particular technology for the last so many years. I keep talking to everybody, but I think Ministry of Steel, Ministry of Coal, Government of India has given ample benefits and ample incentives to the industry to switch over to coal gasification. There's a huge discount on coal. There's a cash subsidy available. The clearances are given really, truly on single window basis. If today the industry doesn't use it, then when will they use it? So, but it all depends upon the industry or an individual business persons. So my point here is we are not going to lose our cost competitiveness. We are once we are at a level playing field, then the cost is similar to everybody. If we can generate hydrogen at $3 per, let us not say dollar, let us 250 rupees per kg, then somebody else also can do it 250 rupees per kg. If it is 400 rupees per kg, then at 400 rupees per kg. If tomorrow we can bring it down to 200 rupees per kg, then it is equal for everybody, 200 rupees per kg. I mean, the technology gap will be hardly 6 to 8 months' time or 10 months' time, not more than that. If somebody can make hydrogen through hydroelectric at, say, 100 rupees per kg, then everybody in the world will make 100 rupees per kg. So it is a level playing field. Now the intentions are different.
Like
If
I'm
we
referring to
are,
the news where there are a lot of
yeah.
MOUs have been signed for coal gasification currently. And I think Jindal Steel did this 15 years ago. I think more than 15 years ago now. And right now, in one of the news articles, it was mentioned that now you're supplying syngas, as in you're using syngas for your downstream operations also. What I wanted to ask you is, are you willing to explore commercial viability also for the syngas if people want to purchase, as in for them, it is yet to take time
No,
to
it is
develop their facilities.
is difficult to transport it unless there is a pipeline. So we cannot liquefy it and transport through the tankers. But yes, we can make SNG, synthesis natural gas, for the cooking as a substitute for cooking gas, or you can say piped gas. That is possible. And then we can liquefy also. But there is a separate technology altogether. But in any case, the first is coal gasification. After coal gasification, there are many routes. We can go for SNG, that is synthesis natural gas. We can make equivalent to LPG. We can make propane out of it. We can make olefins, the plastics. We can make fertilizers, urea. You see, India is importing urea from China. 300,000 tons India imported about 6 months back. Now again, India is trying to import from China. And this urea is coming from where? They don't have any LPG, natural gas, or propane. They have only one product, that is coal gasification. And they are making urea out of coal gasification. So coal gas or synthesis gas. So we had two plants in India earlier. One was in Talcher and the other was Ramagundam. So these plants were done in 1975, and they gave their life till 1995 and the another one 2002. And after that, these plants were to be replaced. So 25 to 28 years of service, these plants are given. So the technology was brought into the country. It was a Cooper's German technology. And uh, I've seen those plants in closed conditions, not in running condition. And the government of India did the best job in that time in 1975. So I think the time has come again. Honorable Prime Minister is always speaking on coal gasification. So the two senior politicians, those who always spoke and those who always advocated, one is Honorable Prime Minister and the other is Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan when he was coal minister also and he was steel minister also. So we found that this is a game changer. And when we compare with the prices of natural gas, propane, LPG, or any other gas, so this syngas is much cheaper in terms of overall cost. But of course, yes, you're right. The capex is little high, and we have to see that over a period of 10, 15, 20 years time, what we can recover out of it. In my view, the payback is 5 to 6 years time, and people should try to utilize this technology. And it is not that it is only Americans who can give this technology, or it is Europeans who can give this technology. The technology today is available in house from BHEL and also by Thermex, and also Jindal Steel, JSPL, our company. We can supply the technology because we have bought the rights from Lurgi, so we can supply the technology. If somebody wants a similar kind of plants like ours, we can also help them. And the other is the biggest source of this technology today is China, because they are doing more than 100 million tons of coal they are gasifying. India has also taken a target for 100 million ton coal gasification in 2019, but so far very few companies have come. So we have suggested Government of India that the Indian oil companies, all Indian oil companies, whether it is Reliance or it is Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum, Hindustan Petroleum, everybody should put a coal gasification plant, like the steel plants or the
I
power
think
plants.
they are moving ahead with that with
Yeah,
respect to so
that's the
many
only
news
way.
articles we are seeing nowadays. I think almost each and every PSU, with respect to oil PSUs, they are going ahead with the coal gasification plan.
Right.
Moving ahead to Paramjit ji, I want to ask you, can energy efficiency alone deliver meaningful decarbonization, or is that being overstated? Paramjit ji.
Monica, if we talk about the energy efficiency, I think it is a short-term, you can say, reality. And with implementing the energy efficiency, I think we can reduce the emission from 5 to 15 or maximum up to 20% of the total emissions. And if you have to go further, you can say 60, 70 or 30, 40, something like that, then we have to, you can say, go with the structural changing deep decarbonization like CCU or hydrogen use we need to talk about. Just by, you can say, implementing the energy efficiency, we can focus on the, you can say, waste heat recovery or power optimization by using a renewable or something like that. By using the energy efficiency, only 15 or 20% is possible. If you have to go further, then you can say deep decarbonization like CCU or other technology we have to opt for.
So energy efficiency part comes under scope 2 emissions, isn't it?
And it's energy efficiency is a part of scope 1 and scope 2 also. You can scope 1 if you are going to reduce some, you can say using some, you can say reducing the consumption of electricity by using some energy efficiency equipments and all things. It's come part scope 1 and scope 2. It falls in scope and scope 2 both. Because in scope 2 we are taking only electricity, and consumption of electricity directly depends on the consumption of electricity, and it is depending on the efficiency of the equipment what you're using in that case.
And do you think India's scrap ecosystem is mature enough to support low carbon steel making at scale?
I don't think so, because if still our you can say scrap system is still fragmented. Actually, we are not our sector is scrapping system is not organized still there, because we don't have that collection, segregation, or shedding mechanism in place. Though many of the you can say agencies are coming with their scrapping and systems in place, but still many of the industries most of the scrap is being used in the secondary sector. They are you can say buying the scrap and directly using it. They are not segregating. Some of them have started it, you can say it is now they have understood that it is directly have the impact on the, you can say, process as well as the overall efficiency, tap to tap time and power consumption. They have started the segregation and shredding and you can say bundling. Everything they have started, but still I think it is still we are quite far from the other countries like EU or US, for how they are working in the, you can say, scrap management system.
So, what is a major reason why we are not able to regulate scrap, Indian scrap industry? What is a major cause you have found while discussing with so many companies?
It's it's a deregulated sector, actually.
And
To be very
it's
frank, it is
not
deregulated
possible
sector.
to
The
regulate
scope
it.
is
Is it like that?
it is not possible, because it is available in the open market, and it's not possible, you can say, to regulate the scrap. However, the mechanism can be put in place to, you can say, to make it organized. But you can say 100% regulation, it is difficult.
And just adding to this question, Abhi, recently, with the current war situation, there have been a lot of scrap shipment which have got affected due to they were not able to reach India. So, having your experience with so many companies, they reach you. Has they shared any kind of difficulty with respect to scrap availability right now, or they are
The
self-sufficient?
scrap, no, there is a difficulty in, you can say, uh, like or
Yeah, I need you to
RPR.
repeat your answer because there is a connection problem. I need you to repeat your answer, sir.
Uh, there is a, you can say, difficulty in scrap availability right now, but the industry is meeting their requirement by replacing it with the DRI, which is available in the market. That is only alternate, because as you know that India is totally,
And
you can
we
say,
can also
mostly
see the
dependent
DRI
from the
prices going
scrap.
up.
Scrap.
There's a huge demand
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
with DRI. Gaurav,
yeah.
coming to you from
That
a
is.
project standpoint, does green steel make financial sense today?
Again, I'll answer this question in two parts. If the project is standalone, yes, then it will be very difficult. But the viability of such initiatives depends on how well these are integrated within the entire value chain. Let's say comparing green hydrogen with gray hydrogen, it is almost 4 times costlier, which will make the steel already this is almost 40 to 50% more costlier. So the viability, we have to make the viability of these projects, because technology is not a bottleneck. Bottleneck is how the economics are framed and how the market acceptability parameters are met by conceptualizing these projects. So in short, my one-liner answer will be the viability will depend on carbon pricing, government incentives or subsidies, and captive renewable advantages, because we need economical solar power to power our electrolyzers and the efficiency of electrolyzers, so that the cost of green hydrogen should come below $3 a kg. So that will be the first point. And thereafter, as already told by Sharma sir, when everybody is doing the same thing, then the advantages or disadvantage question is not there.
So actually, you have covered a part of my, upcoming question where I wanted to ask you how do logistics, energy, and raw material costs impact decarbonization investments? Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people approach, the store or to you to, consult this part. So I wanted to understand how do, investments get affected?
No, actually, in my opinion, this doesn't. they increase cost inflation, they increase the project cost, but actually the major effect is that they pushes the decarbonization timelines away. So let's say if me as a client, I'm trying to decarbonize my operations in 1 or 2 years down the line, with these increased costs, I will take a target of 3 years and 4 years down the line.
So you think the industry is underestimating the capital intensity of transition?
Yes, consistently. Because the decarbonization by green steel is not just a switch. You press it on and decarbonization will happen. The transition requires an entire complete full asset replacement, not just small replacements here and there. So putting up an entire ecosystem based on green hydrogen, this requires a lot of capex. So basically, it is a complete industrial system redesign. So that is why incentives and policy support and a continuous policy support is vital for this sector to take off.
And what could be the biggest misconception investors must be having about the green steel?
That demand will automatically follow the supply, because right now we are in a phase where, as already correctly told by Sharma sir, that we have to do this decarbonization for our human health, for the health of our next generations. So we feel that many industries feel that yes, if I have a green product, there will be buyers. Yes, there will be buyers, but if the percentage of those buyers is only 1%, 2%, and 3%, that might defeat my purpose.
Thank you, Gaurav. Coming to you, Praveen, between hydrogen, carbon capture, and electrification, what is realistically deployable in India?
Pardon, can you just repeat the question between?
The question is between hydrogen, carbon capture, and electrification, what is realistically deployable in India?
Oh, thank you. Very good question. Regarding this carbon capture and utilization, I'll start with the middle portion. See, that is already been in practice in India. The company called GSW Salau, they have the DRI plant commissioned in 1992, and since then they have been doing the carbon capture and making it to the dry ice and selling it to the off-taker company for the food and beverage industries. So that is already in practice since ages, and the same type of plant is getting commissioned very soon. It is under installation in Jindal Steel Dukum. So they have the carbon capture and utilization facilities. So by inherently in our Tenova HVAL energy RN process, there are the system which is already prevailing in the steel making process. Of course, for the blast furnace, people are trying, but in our DRI plant, as I told you in Salau, it has been done. Coming to the electrification, yes, exactly. So electricity in India, as Mr. Singh has mentioned, that here, yeah, mostly it is coal-driven, thermal coal energy. But coming to the solar, a lot of solar energy is also being generated in India, because rooftop panels are there and many large solar companies are there. So green energy is already the increasing that content. Earlier we used to think of only hydel power, but solar is and wind is also they are also taking a lot. Improvement. So this energy efficiency is the first step. It is not a destination. It just buys the time, not the neutrality. So this is one step we can say. And what was the third thing which you mentioned? Carbon capture and energy transition. And third one
Hydrogen,
was
carbon capture.
hydrogen. Yes. Coming to the hydrogen, as we know that hydrogen, whether we produce or US produce, with what Mr. Sharma has told, it is all the same, because we are getting green hydrogen. We are talking about the green hydrogen, but that is the end result. Let us talk about the bridge will be gray hydrogen, or maybe the blue hydrogen that is coming from the natural gas. But gray hydrogen, coal gasification route, we can get it. Even we can get the hydrogen from the coke one gas, like China, HBIS and Bao Steel, already they are making the DRI from the coke one gas and making the steel out of it. So that is a bridge. And hydrogen, of course, that is a destination. Green hydrogen is final destination. So the transition, that is a binary. It is 0 or 1. It is not 0 or 1. Basically, it happens in a phased manner. So coming to the hydrogen nowadays, I think once the government is allowing this the nuclear power plant to the private sector, the micro nuclear power plant, so we can get also the pink hydrogen. Also the turquoise hydrogen that is also coming into the picture, through which we generate the hydrogen from the natural gas directly, and then make the steel. So those are the things already in practice in some part of the country. As you might be aware, that in a new smelt project in Australia, where the major players like BHP and Rio Tinto, they have come together and they have awarded us the project for the low emission pilot plant for the multiple pathways, whether it is for the gas or whether it is for the hydrogen or CO2 capture. So across the globe, those things are already happening. Coming to Indian context, yes, since we have the coal, so we can think of the syngas based DRP, which is already in practice in GSPL Angul, and sorry, Jindal Steel Angul, and that can also be as Mr. Ghosh has also mentioned, that even the secondary players are also becoming much more aware, and in a cluster they want to install a larger a bit larger as compared to rotary kiln DRI, so that the 4 or 5 players can come together and make the coal gasification viable, as well as the economical scale of the DRP.
So, Praveen, you have mentioned many solutions for green steel. I want to know how much of the current solutions are truly scalable versus experimental.
See, it is already scalable. That is why when it comes to the green steel, green hydrogen making, I always tell to the Indian customers that those things have been already proven in Sweden or maybe in Japan and on in Europe and other part of the Europe, where like Salzgitter and hybrid, they have done it. The green hydrogen route steel making in DRP, even in the Salau, they are using 70% of the hydrogen, but that is not green hydrogen. So for us, it hardly matters whether it is green hydrogen or gray hydrogen or pink hydrogen, whatever color we have to give. Hydrogen we consider as a reducing agent, and we know hydrogen is the best reducing agent. So rather than doing a pilot level plant, that is why we have not offered any pilot level plant. When a few years ago, the government of India, they were insisting us, we said that already it has been done. Why to do the same thing if unless we have extra money? Why to put the government fund in making that pilot plant? Because those has been working at 5, 6, 7 places. Just like I told you, in Australia, they are going for a new smelt along with the BHP and Rio Tinto, because they have the raw material, they have the energy, and they can make the
So, Praveen,
green
when we
hydrogen.
have
Yeah.
so many technologies, on the platter, however, the cost and economics are not working towards it as the capex is very high, what really drives adoption?
As the saying goes, Rome was not built in a day, but one day it was made. So this is the correct time, because since we have to think for the next generation. Of course, we are not, and the planet remain the same, universe remain the same. What Mr. Sharma is insisting, whether it is in China, Ukraine, or India, whatever may be, the Earth is same, whether we are fighting war or not. But our Earth is getting affected. You see right now in your area there is huge rainfall. That is the climatic global effect. Global effect. So that we have to prevent, that we have to protect, considering our future next generation. So this is the right time we start thinking, evaluating all the routes. And as you were asking some of the panelists, that whether the people will be ready to pay the premium for the green steel. You remember, once upon a time there used to be a cricket game called cricket. It was the rich man's game. Sometime a bit later, then traveling in an airplane, it was considered to be a rich man's heritage. But no, common people are traveling in that. And then coming to this road, built, operated on BOO basis, fastag has been issued to all our car. So even we travel 1 kilometer, if we come to Noida or if we go to Gurgaon, so we have to pay money.
So you are
But
saying today's
it is
luxury will become normal, in the future.
correct. At one point of time, we used to say roti, kapda, and makan. But now mobile and all those things have become necessity. It is no more necessity. It is no more the need. It has become our necessity. So things are changing. Mindsets are changing. People are willing to pay for that the extra premium, because they are getting the comfort. Comfort not in the sense of getting the air conditioned comfort. Comfort in the sense that Global warming should not be there. Our next generation will be much more safer. So that mindset has already come up. So people will not mind in paying more money, whether it is the automobile, if it has the safety features, so like that, if we are getting the green automobile or green steel for whether it is for the construction or infrastructure, definitely people will pay.
Thank you, Praveen. Coming to you, Soumyadeep, can alternative fuels like syngas or coal gasification outputs be integrated into existing DRI setups? And how adaptable are current DRI technologies to India-specific fuel realities?
Again, thank you so much, Monica, for the question. I would like to answer this question with Enershiron. As Praveen has already said, it is a technology that is developed together between Danelli and Tenova. This technology is itself adaptable to any kind of fuel that you give. You can start off with natural gas, you can put off coke oven gas, you can put syngas coming from the gasifier, and ultimately, when you receive hydrogen, as Mr. Verma said, at $3 per kg, you can put also hydrogen without any modification. Nowadays, all the plants that are commercially made available to by Energy, not today, even in the 90s, for example, in Salab, that plant was even hydrogen ready from that day onwards. But having said that, I would like to just pass this discussion that we should not look as DRI as a standalone, but rather DRI integrated with Melshop. The benefits that DRI can bring, or let's say vertical shaft quality of DRI can bring to the melt shop is always an advantage. There are two sectors. So we already have a primary, secondary. Inside secondary also we have second sector that is integrated with rotary clean. And the other that are basically induction furnace and that are dependent on the sponge iron coming out from the eastern or the central part of India or scrap. Now, if you talk to them, if you give them a better quality DRI, the better quality of DRI also helps them in not only, let's say, in the efficiency of their furnaces, they also helps in reduction of the, let's say, the energy consumption, which is again decarbonization. Decarbonization does not necessarily mean that going to zero from day one. It means reducing of your net CO2 footprint from the plant. And vertical shaft DRI in today's reality with government incentives and the path shown by Mr. Sharma and the Jindal team, that coal gasification is a reality. In coal gasification, if you have more hydrogen to carbon monoxide ratio, more than 1.6, Energy today can accept any form of reducing gas. And I would like to also stress on the fact that it is not just the blend of hydrogen or hydrocarbon. It is also on the feedstock that you put inside from the pellet sizing.
Yeah, so that was my
So
next question actually. I wanted to ask you this. Does all size of pellet
yeah,
feedstock contribute to reducing wastage? And can this also lead to a net reduction of CO2 emission, Soumya?
yes, absolutely, absolutely, yes. The lesser, see, at the end of the day, you spend energy to make pellets. And if you let's say reject a certain sizes of pellets, you send it back to the originating plant again, spend energy to make. So your technology, or let's say Energy technology, can accept pellet sizes as small as possible, less than 5 millimeter even. So this also helps in reduction of CO2 emission. Having said that, when you compare to rotary to the Energy vertical shaft, rotary, as I said, has around 2 to 2.3 tons of CO2 per ton of DRI, whereas Energy in over a total selective and non-selective can give you 500 kgs of net CO2. And out of those 500 kgs, 60% of it is selectively stored. As Praveen said, in JSW Salab, it is stored and it is sold. So you always have this opportunity of carbon capture and then selling it, storing it and selling it. So these are certain benefits, both in flexibility, CO2, with terms of fuel that you can utilize, not hydrogen from day zero, but you start off with some gases and then you slowly shift towards hydrogen when it is economically viable. On the feedstock, number three, And last but not least, I would like to take on the electrification part. We have a plant in Emirates Steel where it was originally fueled by, let's say, a heater, process gas heater, which was basically fuel heated. Now in Emirates Steel and also in Jindal Dukum, we are also talking of electrical heating. So if you have renewable energy sources, you can electrically heat that and thereby reducing your net CO2 footprint. So all these solutions are available in today's day.
Thank you so much, Soumya.
And it is viable.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Paramjit, steel companies are heavily investing right now in solar. Does this reduce real emission or just improve carbon accounting?
Yeah, again, Monica, if they are investing and they're utilizing the renewable power in, you can say, in the process or in the utilizing in melting and all these things, that is definitely contributing in reduction in emission as well as in, you can say, adding to the carbon accounting also. Both the way it's working in that case.
And I want to take this question to Mr. V.R. Sharma also. Can solar meaningfully decarbonize blast furnace steel making, or is it limited to auxiliary benefits?
No, it cannot fully decarbonize, especially the blast furnace. Yes, it can definitely be helpful in terms of injecting hydrogen and also in terms of utilizing the solar energy as against of the other sources of energy. Secondly, I think your question was the rotary kiln type DRI versus vertical shaft kiln.
Yes, sir.
So in rotary kiln type, we cannot inject hydrogen. These are open-ended, and there's no sealing in these rotary kilns. So this is different technology. So we cannot use hydrogen today as far as the technology is concerned. Maybe in future something comes out, but unless there is a sealed rotary kiln, we cannot use hydrogen. The hydrogen can only be used in vertical shaft kilns where there is a complete sealing from top to bottom. Otherwise, not possible. Hope it's clear.
Sharma sir and Paramjit sir, I want to ask you one common question. You can answer me one by one. If core processes still rely on coal, can the output truly be called as a green steel? You can answer one by one.
Can you repeat your question again, please?
If core processes still rely on coal, can the output truly be called as green steel?
Again, depend upon that because as on date, the way the green steel has been defined, 2.2 ton per CO2 per ton of the finished steel. Again, if you are totally dependent on the coal, I don't think so. It is you can say defined as a green steel because as per the technologies available today, either it's a blast furnace or a coal-based DRI, the emissions are more than 2 or 2.4 ton per ton of the DRI, or you can say hot metal in that case. So then it is difficult to define the green steel, or you can say fall under the category of green steel. We have to you can say if you are using the electricity, then we have to if we can replace the electricity with the renewable, then we can think of, you can say, partly replacing, reducing the emissions and come under the category of the green steel in that case.
Sharma sir.
Yes, okay.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन है एक पर्सपेक्टिव से और है फॉर एग्जांपल इफ कंपनी ऑप्ट्स फॉर ग्रीन स्टील सर्टिफिकेशन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ स्क्रैप यूटिलाइजेशन विद द करंट गिवन सर्कमस्टेंसेस वेयर द DRI यूटिलाइजेशन इज गोइंग अप एंड द स्क्रैप इज गोइंग डाउन एज अ रॉ मटेरियल to make billets and ingots, then क्या वो सर्टिफिकेशन ऑफ ग्रीन स्टील स्टिल भी एप्लीकेबल रहेगा?
This is very simple. The green steel certification is done based on the total emission. Yeah. Any company does. So if that emission is within the norms as stipulated by the agencies and different governments, then it is green steel. There is no doubt at all. But the point here is, what are we aiming for? Are we aiming for a 2 billion ton steel to be made green, or we are aiming for maybe 10, 20, 30, 50 million ton, or maybe 100 million ton. So the world is expecting that the 2 billion ton steel, what world is producing today, should become green. And that is a big challenge, of course. And for that, it is not only one country who has to do it. Each and every country and each and every company should work on this. I'll tell you, some of the companies in China, they are already at a level of less than 1.8 ton CO2 per ton of steel making. So this is a wonderful achievement, and that is through the blast furnace route. So we have to find out that what do they do to reduce their overall CO2 generation. So if everybody follows them, or they do better than them, then definitely we have reached from 2.4 or 2.5 ton today to 1.8 ton, which is a significant achievement. So my viewpoint is that let us not work on what is the basic on what basis the certificate we are getting. Let the world work on how much overall CO2 one can reduce. This is my point.
तो मेरा पॉइंट एक्चुअली उसी तरफ था बिकॉज देर इज अ रश राइट नाउ अमंग ऑल द स्टील कंपनीज टू गेट स्टील सर्टिफिकेशन, ग्रीन स्टील सर्टिफिकेशन। एंड हमने एक लास्ट वेबिनार किया था जिसमें हमें पता चला दैट द कंपनीज हु आर बेस्ड आउट इन Jalna and also in Gujarat, where they are heavily dependent on scrap right now because there is a scrap unavailability from the Gulf. They are using about 70 to 80% of DRI in their plants. So क्या वो certificates are परमजीत सर तब भी applicable होगा when they are increasing the DRI as an input in their plants, or will there be a exceptions during those days?
And then before Singh Saab tells, we have to see that how the DRI was made.
Yes.
That is most important.
Yes. I think half of the question is answered by Sharma ji. And again, depends upon that when they are using, you can say, increase the percentage of the DRI and reducing the, you can say, scrap, and they are replacing the, you can say, power with the renewable, then there is a chances, because again, it depends in how much, you can say, power is replaced by the renewable. I am telling you, the people now in the secondary sector, some of the units are using 80% of the renewable power of the total power utilized for the melting actually. So that is again defining green steel depending on the multiple factors, not only the input materials only.
So scope 1 is input, scope 2 is energy, and scope 3 is also energy.
So in a scope 3 is the embedded carbon. Actually, what exactly is the that input material you are using? What is the carbon? What amount of carbon that is carrying along with it? That is basically the scope 3.
So I think thank you everyone. Gaurav, you wanted to make a point. I'm not going to ask further more questions because the time is up now. Yeah,
So
Gaurav.
my point is to Paramjit sir and Sharma sir. So Paramjit sir, if in the existing steel making BF route, if I integrate that with CCUS and I capture all the CO2 associated with the steel making, will it be a green steel or you will call it a clean steel?
It will be a green steel because if you have to certify, then we say it a green steel, and you can call it as a green steel also, clean steel also.
So
That is
Monica,
green.
your question is answered. Coal doesn't matter. It's not relevant.
Thank you so much. With this, we will conclude the webinar. We are already 5 minutes up with our timelines. We started a bit late, so you have taken that liberty to exceed 5 minutes on the webinar timing. So as we conclude today's discussion, one thing is clear. The journey towards green steel is not as straightforward as it often, looked as or presented. While ambition is strong, the transition must be grounded in technology readiness, economic viability, and India's unique realities. Whether it is renewable energy, coal gasification, or emerging solutions like hydrogen, each pathway has a role, but none is a silver bullet.
Yes.
Perhaps the biggest takeaway today is green steel is not just about reducing emission on paper, but about creating real, measurable impact on the ground. The industry doesn't just need commitment, it needs clarity, balance, and honest conversations like this, because in the end, green steel is not about what sounds good, it's about what actually works. Thank you all to our esteemed panelists and for the valuable insights, and to our audience for being the part of this important dialogue. Have a cup of tea or coffee and enjoy the weather. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
Monica.
and have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
Thank you. Have a
Hello.
nice day.
Thanks.
Have a
Thank
nice
you so much.